Hey guys, it's the Chad, your C10 truck nerd. Well, if you're familiar with the channel, I'm sure you guys have heard me complain a time or 50 about having to work on these old junk trucks out here in the driveway, and I won't lie, it sucks. Now here in Kansas, it's either super hot, super cold, the wind's blowing 500 miles an hour, it's dusty, or we got them tornadoes. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I've got some very nice neighbors, but anytime I'm out here working on one of these things or out filming, everybody just wants to come over and talk to me, and I just can't get anything done. But today, that all changes because I finally made the decision to build a shop. Well, maybe not a shop, but build a garage. I don't know. You know, with my budget, I'm probably gonna run down to Home Depot and get one of those plastic garden sheds and call it good enough. Great. Well, about 8 years ago, the wife and I bought this property, which is on just over an acre, and I was really excited because growing up, I was a city slicker and I always had a neighbor right on top of me. So here, I don't mind having neighbors, but they were going to be far enough away it wasn't going to be a problem. But I quickly realized that they're just not far enough away. If you guys are familiar with the channel, you can probably remember back that I've had some issues or disagreements with some neighbors in the city about some of my trucks and my truck parts. You know, at one point, somebody told me, hey, if a fella doesn't get this cleaned up in the next 30 days, you could be looking at a fine. So I did the right thing and I complied, but not before I went through and violently parted out a 1969 C10 that we called Donna the Donor. Now, I was pretty proud of myself, thought, haha, I showed you guys, but fast forward 6 months and that might not have been the best idea I ever had. And I'll tell you why in just a second. So the last couple years I've been monitoring lumber prices and they got completely out of control. But recently they took a nosedive and I figured, man, if I'm gonna build something, I better do it now. So I reached out to the city and said, hey, you know, where in the backyard can I or where can I not put this garage? Now our city inspector is great. He did a little research for me and actually came out and walked the property with me. But the downfall is, he says, guess what? You have 50-foot building setbacks. And I'm like, great. What's that mean? Well, basically that means I can't put any structures within 50 feet of the property line without being in violation of city code. I mean, that's not good. Even new neighborhoods are only at 25 feet, so I'm lucky enough to double that. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. He says, you know, you can apply for what's called a vacation as city setbacks. All you got to do is just get approval from your neighbors, the zoning committee, and you guessed it, the city. Great. You know, it's kind of like the Cher song. If I could turn back time, maybe I'd do things a little bit differently. Nope, I'd probably do it exactly the same because I'm an idiot. But I really need to get that building as far out towards the street as I can. So we gotta go for it at least and see what happens. Here's a sneak peek of the backyard. So here to your left, that tree row over there, that is the property line. And it's an extremely wide backyard, but I can't put it over here to the east because I don't have street access. We got some weird pie-shaped lots, so that's kind of on the neighbors right away. Now, the way things are set up now, the setbacks are directly in line with the neighbor's house here. So that's almost 81 or 83 feet from the road before I can even start building. And then that kind of puts the garage right into the girl's swing set towards the middle of the yard, so just not a great option. So hopefully tomorrow we can get down, pick up the application paperwork and say, can we put it over yonder, please? See what happens. So I just made it over to the city building to pick up my application for building city setbacks or vacation as city setbacks or something like that. I just want to move the garage to where they say I can't build it now and fill out that paperwork. So be right back. So I've got the paperwork, and this really isn't going to be too bad other than I need to fill out like 4,200 different forms. I have to go to a title company and get a legal or a certified list of all residents that live within 200 feet of me, write a letter to the zoning committee telling them why I want the setbacks pushed, and then draw a to-scale diagram of my property now and where I want the building to be. And then I have to pay an application fee. I guess that's to send out certified letters to all the residents and run an ad in the local paper that I'm going to have a vacation, a setback hearing. That way they can come and contest me if they want. If I happen to make it through all of that stuff, it still has to go in front of the city council for a final vote. So should be fine, or I'm screwed, but we'll see. So now I know the steps I need to take to go through and try to get these setbacks pushed, but it's highly likely that I'm not going to win my hearing. So worst case scenario, I want to go through and lay out a couple different garage sizes at the 50-foot setback. It's not going to be good though, because it's still going to be in the center of the backyard. I'm still going to have a long gravel driveway in the back, which my wife's going to hate. And holy smokes. So I don't know, hopefully we can get it pushed a little bit further out. So I'm going to use my pretty fancy roll of tape and lay some things out. What are you doing? So I've laid out a 24 by 24 and I absolutely hate it. I mean, it's just so little compared to what it could be. But if I go any bigger, it's just gonna look stupid because it's already in the center of the backyard. Now, one advantage I think I might have with the city is on this side of the property, it has such negative grade the way the house was built. When we get heavy rains, there's enough water over there to fill up an Olympic-sized pool. And the natural water flow is here towards the west, right where I'd currently have to put the garage. So if I can convince the city that it needs to go further out, that way I don't shore up water, that might be my best bet. So the next step is to go down to a title company and get that legal or certified list of my neighbors within 200 feet. So I'm guessing that's 6 or 7 of them. So yippee, more money. So I just came out of the title company and guess what? It's not a 6 or 7 residents within 200 feet like I thought. Somehow they say it's 11 and they want $35 per resident. And I'm like, yep, thanks, but no thanks. Now, I don't know what I was thinking it was gonna cost. I kind of thought it would be like $50. So I'm gonna go shop around a little bit, see if we can find a little bit better deal than this because it's really getting out of control, so whatever. Okay, so I'm glad I'm cheap because title company number 2 was less than half the price of the first one, which is still a bunch of cash, but whatever. Let's just move on to the next step and see how much more money they can take from me. Perfect. So I've almost got everything wrapped up. I've gone through and got all of my application forms filled out. I've got my certified list of all the residents within 200 feet of me. I wrote my letter to the zoning committee, and one of the last pieces of the puzzle is I have to go through and draw out a detailed diagram of our property with the current setbacks and where I want the new ones to be and where I'd want the garage to be too. So I went pretty detailed there. That's probably not good enough for them, but that's kind of what I want to turn in. Now, I'm pretty good on the computer and drawing, so I went very detailed with this one with all the trees and fences and everything there. So there's no question of what I'm looking for. Now, all I'm going to ask for is 25-foot setbacks. No more. I'm not going to be greedy than anybody else would have in a new neighborhood. I just want the bare minimum here and call it good enough. Once I get that all done, I just got to spend some more money. I had to find the checkbook because we just don't use these anymore. I'll get everything wrapped up, send it back over to the city, and wait for our hearing. So tonight's the big night. Headed back down to City Hall for my hearing with the zoning committee, and I think I got all my paperwork done correctly. And really, I don't know what's gonna happen. I did wear my fancy going to town shirt, so hopefully there's not too many Ford guys on the committee, or this might not work out so well. Let's see what happens. So yeah, I'm definitely not liking how many cars are here for this hearing. Great. So that's it. I am done with my hearing, and let me tell you how it plays out. Get in there, and I'm the only one on the agenda for the night, which is great. Nobody else is there to contest me, so another big win. A couple minutes, though, before we start, one neighbor walks in, and a couple minutes later, a second, and I'm like, uh-oh, why are you guys here? And then I kind of wondered, are you the ones complaining on my trucks and my truck parts? But anywho, we start the hearing. They ask me all the questions, you know, why am I want to move the setbacks? Am I going to be living out in the garage, this and that? It went real smooth, and they asked for any objections from the neighbors, and neither of them actually had any. They just wanted to complain on another neighbor, so sweet. So I won 5-0, so I got to wait a couple more weeks. This has got to go for a final vote in front of the city council. If I win that one, we're getting a bigger shop, so this is awesome. Well guys, I've got some pretty good news. I got an email this morning from the city saying they approved my vacation of setbacks 5-0. I won't lie, I was a little bit nervous they just might shut me down in spite of what I've done in the past, but this is just kind of a win-win for everybody. You know, the cities and my neighbors, they don't have to look at my clutter anymore. I'm getting a bigger building out of this, and truly the city's gonna make quite a bit of money. Between all the permits, utilities, and my property taxes in the future, it's not a bad gig for them. So here comes the big question. How big a building should we put up now? Initially, we measured out a 24 by 24, but we can definitely get a 24 by 30, maybe a 36, and if we get real creative with the drainage, maybe even a 30 by 40. Not sure I can afford that, but everybody always says, build as big as you possibly can. Well, that, and do we do a wood building, metal building, 10-foot, 12-foot walls? Well, let me know what you guys think down the old clickety-clack, and while you're there, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And please follow along through the process of design, build, and finish work, because I'm gonna need a ton of recommendations from you guys of what worked and what failed with your shop builds. Well, I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.